5 seconds. During the last few days, I have traveled around and visited a number of places. First of all, I went to the forward areas where I found the Jawans of the Army and Air Force in excellent spirits. In major cities, I saw lakhs and lakhs of people, their faces beaming with a new confidence and a new vision. The country as a whole presents as inspiring picture. The solidarity of the nation has been amply demonstrated to the entire world. Now there is a strong will to make good in all directions. We are still in the midst of an emergency, and we may well have to live with it for quite a time. We must therefore take a long term view of things and look into all aspects. On this solemn occasion, let us determine to give practical shape to the keen desire of the people, so evident everywhere, to be self reliant. Self reliance does not mean that we have everything that we need. No country in the world is self sufficient in all respects. Self reliance means the capacity to make the utmost of what we have and the courage to be without what we do not and what we cannot have. There are three specific fields in which self reliance is of the highest importance. First of all, our armed forces must be adequately equipped to defend our borders and to meet the challenges that we face. Therefore, our defense industries have to be developed further at top speed. Next is the question of self sufficiency in food, about which I spoke to you only a few days ago. While we should be grateful to those who extend their help, we must be ready to stand on our own feet, not in some distant future, but here and now. We must think of the ways and means to generate the resources that we need for our development and defense through our own efforts. These resources have to come out of what we produce. Good proportion of it has to be set aside for current consumption. If we want to accelerate the attainment of self reliance, we have, in other words, to produce more and consume less. I know that it is not easy for us whose levels of income are as low to think in terms of cutting down consumption, and yet we have to remember that if we save more today, we shall have more to spend tomorrow. We have to make a sacrifice in order to give a better life to our children and the future generations in the years to come. Therefore, it may be necessary for us to deny ourselves many things today. Incomes have been rising, and the levels of consumption of food grains, sugar, cloth, etc., have been going up from year to year because of the 3 5-year plans. If we want to quicken the progress, we have to go slow with increases in utilization. Incomes may rise, but the levels of expenditure have to be kept down. There are a number of schemes of small savings in existence today. A post office savings bank account can be opened by anyone with as little as 2 rupees. People with low incomes can invest in this and help the defense effort. We now propose to introduce a new scheme. Government has decided to issue a national defense loan in two series. These loans will be available for subscription without limit. I have no doubt that this scheme will get the most enthusiastic response. At the same time, we must be careful about our external resources. There is an opportunity for everyone who has gold in this country, either in the shape of ornaments or as bullion, to put it to a noble cause. This will enable the government of India to finance the import of equipment and materials needed for our defense and development. I would like to appeal to Indians living abroad to send whatever money they have through official channels alone. Let every man contribute to his means, and by doing so, he will make the nation self reliant. Dear Chief Minister, I shall begin this letter by drawing your attention to the broadcast I made last evening on the food situation. You may have heard this or read it, but for facility of reference, I enclose copy. There is nothing very new in what I said, but I hope there is a new approach. You will observe that we are appointing a commissioner for food production whose name will be announced soon. He will be vested with large executive powers. We shall at the same time try to tone up our secretariat machinery to suit the needs of the time. One thing is certain, that we must get going about this business, and we cannot allow matters to drift simply because the machine works slowly or some individual is incapable of moving fast. Whatever we may do at the center, the problem remains essentially a state one, and everything depends on what the states do in this regard. I would draw your special attention to the need for cooperation between the center and states, which is quite essential. I trust that you will take early action to appoint a commissioner for food production in your state as early as possible and give him considerable powers. We have had to deal with very difficult law and order problems in the past 2 years. I think it is high time we received this position fully. I have been deeply pained to see the drift in some periodicals. I do not know what can be done about this because we do not wish to interfere with the press as far as possible, but surely the leaders of the press themselves should be made to realize that all this is degrading the press as well as the nation. Yours sincerely.